Well, g'day and welcome back to the shed, and this is part 3 of this little Grundig transistor boy, or perhaps I should call it an update. I've done another project since I last worked on this one, but you can find parts 1 and 2 in the playlist for this radio. All my radios are sorted by playlist, so if you're ever having trouble finding the subsequent parts of a project, just look at the playlist, they'll all be there. Anyway, when I last left this one, it was going well on mains, but I was having trouble getting it to work on battery. Not because it wouldn't work, but when I put normal batteries in it, I was using alkaline batteries, it would attempt to put a charging voltage on them, and I thought that wouldn't do them a whole lot of good. They don't like being charged when they're not rechargeable batteries. So I tried blocking that with the diode, and I found then that they were slowly discharging while the radio was playing. It all got a little bit too hard, so I just left it on mains voltage. Another thing is that there's a Zener in the power supply which regulates the power supply voltage to the output transistors and also to the B+. And it was fine, but it was getting quite hot. So what I've done now is I've got these are 5 watt 6.2 volt Zeners. I had to order them online because I couldn't get them from the local electronics shop. So I'm going to put one of those in, see how that goes, and then I bought some rechargeable batteries, so I'll see how we go with those. So let's just open it up. And I left those rechargeable batteries inside. I was just checking them for fit. You could actually stack an awful lot of batteries in here. These are much smaller than the originals, of course. But I'm just going to use 5 at the moment. That should make up the appropriate voltage. But you could stack probably 5 or 6 stacks of 5. If you could afford the batteries, of course. They're not cheap. Anyway, here's that little diode. So before I go any further, I'm just going to swap that out for one of the 5 watt ones. So just soldering that in there. And I'll just plug it in and find out what sort of voltage we've got on that. So turning it on.
Trade. So this is the monthly report for March. It basically showed that employment in Australia fell by 6%.
Okay, so I'll just turn that down, and I'll just see what we're getting here. We've got 6.34 volts. 3334, so that's fine. That's what we wanted. So I've soldered together these 5 nickel metal hydride batteries. They're 2000 milliamp hours each, 6.2 volts, so 5 of them should give us 6 volts even. It also says here on them, charge with a nickel metal hydride charger only. Well, sorry, can't do that. Standard charge 200 milliamps for 15 hours. So I'll just see what sort of current we get into them once we get going here, but for the moment I'll just check what voltage we've got on them. That's the negative. Let's put that on there and see what we've got here. 6.35. So that's pretty much what we had on the power supply here. So I would expect, at least I would hope, that there'd be no current flow while it's just operating off mains. Anyway, I'll hook them up to the radio and just see what happens.
Remember, he's a 29-year-old in game 200.
So there we are with it operating on battery, and I'll just see what voltage we've got on this while it's under load. Ground is ground now because the batteries are hooked up, so I'll just see what we got there. 6.26. Now let's just see how many milliamps we're drawing here. So if I disconnect that, and we'll put it on milliamps. Zero. Have we got any reception? No, it doesn't look like we have. I think I've got it on the wrong input. We'll try 400 milliamps. Okay, so we're seeing about 75 milliamps happening there. Alright, so now I'm going to turn it on to mains. We'll see what happens then. We've got 51 milliamps going in. That's while the radio's operating normally on power. Now let's see what happens if I push the charge button. The radio should stop operating and it should increase the charging voltage. So we'll see what happens. We've got 8 milliamps. That's not much. I'll have to check back over my old video, but as I recall, when you put it on battery, the voltage rose to about 10 volts, and that's because it switches in an extra winding on or an extra tap on the mains transformer. I want this on voltage. It also switches out that Zener diode, so the voltage goes up. Now, I don't know why that's not happening. So there, with the radio operating normally, this is on mains power, we've got 6.65 volts DC. Now when I push this, and the batteries are out of circuit at the moment, yeah, it goes up to 11 point... Oh, and it's dropping again. I don't know why it's dropping. It's still a good deal higher though. So you would expect the current into the battery, the charging current, to increase when that increases in voltage. Yep, 11. I don't know why it's dropping, but... So I'll hook up the batteries again and just see what current we get. I don't know why I'm not seeing an increase in current when this happens. Just looking at the voltage on the charging circuit again, and the charge button is on. It's plugged in and turned on. It started at about 10 volts and started to drop. It's stabilised at 7.1 volts. And it's been stable like that for several minutes. Now that's still a volt more or less above the power supply voltage when the radio is operating on mains power. So 60 milliamps, and I think that's flowing into the battery while the thing is working on mains. If I turn it off mains, yeah, we have 74 milliamps discharge. Back onto mains, 55 milliamps charging current. Now if I push this, that should increase because we've got up to 10 volts going into it. 60, 11 milliamps. That's not much. Back to normal. 52. So why, when we have an increased voltage, do we not have an increased current? Okay, looking at the schematic again, and here is a charging switch here. There's this switch here and this switch here going together. Now here is the tap on the mains transformer, and I may have misinterpreted this before. This, I think, is shown in the charging position, No, it's not, because this switch is closed, and with it closed, current flows past this diode here. This is the Zener, which, well, I've replaced it with a Zener, which regulates the power supply, through to the HT section here, generating the plate voltage, and on up here to run the filaments and the transistors. So, with this switch open, this section of the circuit is isolated from the radio. So current flows from the transformer through that diode, charges these two caps through the dial lamp, which is acts as a current limiter, through this resistor, 13 ohms, it's only a small one, 1 watt, and to the battery. So when you turn the battery switch on, this diode is then switched to the lower voltage tap of the secondary. Now that explains the voltage dropping down slowly, because these caps will already be charged up to whatever they charge to with the higher voltage tap. As they discharge, the voltage will drop to their maximum charge on the lower voltage tap. So if we look at this side of the diode, I should be able to find out what AC volts are going into that before it gets rectified. Let's just have a look at that. So we've got it on mains power. I'll just turn the volume down just to avoid being annoyed. Now, looking at this rectifier here, this is the diode that we were just looking at, and this side of it is the AC side. We're on AC volts here, and we've got 13.8 volts with the radio operating normally. That's RMS AC, of course. So now I'm going to push the charge button, and that will cut in the lower voltage tap on the secondary. If I can push it, there we go. And we've got 5.5 volts AC. That's not much. I'm just reading through the data that I've got on this radio, and this covers the transistor boy T and the transistor boy L, and what I have is a version of the transistor boy L. It's the LE, which I think is the export version, and it's slightly different, but it gives power consumption figures. It says approximately 72 milliamps for the L version at without signal. At medium volume it says 95. Now I'm getting 70 odd milliamps at medium volume, or at lowish volume I suppose. 25 milliamps is tube heating and the DC-DC converter alone, which supplies the plate voltage to the tubes, 45 milliamps. It doesn't anywhere specify what the charging voltage is. It shows charging operation 20 milliamps at 220 volts, and I presume that's the power consumption, the mains power consumption, not what it charges the battery at. Now it's charging the battery at something less than that, but there's nowhere here that it specifies it. The only thing that I've found that has been useful is over here. It says that the battery has an operating capacity of 0.9 of an amp hour. So that's 900 milliamp hours, I guess. Now looking at these batteries, these are, if I can find it written on them here somewhere, 2000 milliamp hours. So these have more than twice the capacity of the original battery. So it's not surprising that the charging circuit really isn't up to charging these very well. But from what I can gather, they're going to be very safe at the charging rate that we've got. And I have been running them for some time on charge with the radio going. They don't even get slightly warm. I don't think there's any danger of them overheating. I think they're quite safe at that charge rate. And when fully charged, they'll operate the radio for approximately twice as long as the original battery would. So I think this is as close as I'm going to get to its original operation. I'm going to just find a way of attaching these in here. They can go in several ways, but they sit along here quite nicely. They fit in there well, or they'll also fit this way, fit along the side here. I think I'm going to go with that. because they just sit in there nicely like that. Now I've wrapped them up in several layers of tape, and to secure them, they fit in there quite snugly. I've got some very strong double-sided tape which has a protective side still attached. I've attached that to the tape, and the plan is to just solder the wires on, and then I'll peel the backing off this and stick them in. And I know this stuff, I can guarantee you that they won't let go in a hurry. That said, I don't like using adhesives as a long-term solution, so I'm just going to run the radio like this for a while, see how it goes, and if I'm happy with it, I'll make up some kind of a clamp or some other type of mechanical holder rather than relying on tape. So I've peeled the backing off, and being careful not to touch it because you get this stuff stuck to your fingers. It's a pain to get it off. And this will just fit neatly down in here. And that is not going anywhere, lifting the whole radio with them. I can't remember where I got this tape, but it's very good. So I'm going to run it like this for a while, as I said. One thing of interest, and I was wondering about this because there's no provision to stow the cord, even though it's a portable radio, but you can actually do that if you run the cord along the bottom of the cabinet here, and it will quite neatly roll up and store in here. With there's plenty of room for the plug there. Put the top on, and you don't have a dangling cord. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to run it for a little while and see how it goes. Well, here we go. Working nicely on batteries.
Zener says significant escalation in the Middle East isn't in anyone's interests.
It's a developing situation. It wouldn't be right for me to...
Well, this is about as far as I'm going to go at the moment with this radio. I will be using it in the kitchen for a while just to see how it goes and make sure those batteries are operating as they should. Hopefully it will be useful as a battery radio as well, because we're planning on going on a little trip. I'll be away for about 3 weeks, so there'll be no videos for a little while. I will post this once we're on the road, and what I'd like to do is take this radio with me and desert test it, as Shango says. We'll be travelling in some quite remote areas, and it will be interesting to see what we get on the shortwave bands and just what it will pick up. Having the battery capability makes it useful for that. We won't have access to power. So I may be able to post some video of it doing that. If I get a chance, I will add it onto the end of this video. So it's only been a short one this time, but I want to get this finished before we leave. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little update, and hope to catch you in the shed next time, maybe in a few weeks. Bye for now. Well, here we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and this seems as good a place as any, I suppose, to desert test, as they say, this radio. To the east of us we've got this mountain escarpment. This is the Kennedy Ranges, and we're actually in the Kennedy Range National Park. The sun's just about to go down, and I'm going to wait until the sun has gone down, mainly because of the flies. They're really annoying, and they will hopefully go away after dark. So I'll set up a table somewhere here near the bus, I guess. I can possibly run a light from the bus to here. I kind of doubt if we'll get anything much at all out here, because there's nothing for several thousand kilometres in this direction facing east, and anything from the west will be probably blocked by the mountains. Okay, well, here we are, and it's quite dark now. There is some lightning out on the horizon, and we even had a spot of rain or two, so I hope that doesn't affect it too much. let's turn it on, and I'll start with the AM band, see what we get there.
$38.40 and $3.60. 10 seconds, Dawn the Beach, $1.04 and probably 9. Getting set.
Obviously a racing station.
Stempler.
Oh.
So, it's same, it's a language. You know, even though it's English or bit better. That's why a lot of elder people, when they speak to people or have a yarn with people, they got a lot to say because they've learned a lot of words.
That will be an indigenous station, probably coming out of Carnarvon, which is a couple of 100 kilometres away.
Word Up, bringing you the diverse languages of Black Australia, one word at a time.
No, that's actually the ABC. So, yeah, it's hard to tell with the ABC because everything is relayed, same programming all over the place, so you can't really tell where it's coming from.
Next week, but until then, why not?
And the same station again. Now I've got a music station coming in there very faintly. I have no idea what that is, but it's not in English. Would be nice if they identified the station.
There is a need for police association members and their families in this space to make sure that we have people that look after them and care about their welfare more than the dollar.
Time at 7:50, 190.
And another racing station, there seems to be no shortage of them.
And Newcastle also hosted gatherings last night.
A 10th man has been arrested in relation to the riot in Western Sydney in which a bishop was stabbed during a church service.
As you said, we felt really dangerous.
Football again, that's probably a local network.
DAB radio, plus streaming through your smart speaker and the new 6AX app. Download for free from your app store. Welcome to the Capital Radio Network's Forever Classic, 6AX. Now, Jukebox Saturday night.
Now that is from Perth, 6IX. And I think I'm getting it better here than I do at home. I don't know if it's relayed up to Carnarvon, perhaps, it's hard to say. Triple M, that's another syndicated radio station. And you get it everywhere. That could be coming from anywhere along the coast.
Open your ears to a new world of audio.
The 2024 AFL season on 1071 Triple M.
He's the one who's the foundation of it.
I can look that up and find out where it was transmitted from, actually.
What of a great organisation, so it's awesome.
So, in your artistic associate role, are you spending more time enabling?
That sounds like ABC Radio National.
Volvo 8x4 heavy rated prime movers, side and end tipping trailers, converter dollies, light vehicles, wheel loaders and more. Located in Geraldton. Auction ends May 1 at noon. Bid online at sbauction.com.au. Smith Broughton Auctioneers, your equipment experts for over 47 years.
Well, that's advertising from Geraldton, so I presume it's Triple M in Geraldton. Gee, how far away is that? 1,000 kilometres? I don't know.
Investment will go towards developing new staff accommodation.
There's just so much of it.
Hello and welcome to the Art Show on the BBC World Service. I'm Nikki Beattie, bringing you a shimmering array of guests and some cultural companionship for the next 60 minutes with the best global arts and culture conversation from across the BBC and beyond. Coming up.
Period for about 4 minutes when no one can keep their feet, and yet from that time we haven't seen it be an issue at all. It is hard, but it's not.
That's another ABC station being relayed from somewhere. And there it is again, very faintly from somewhere else. That's about it for the medium wave band. Let's try shortwave 1. Now just checking the dial, shortwave 1, 45 up to 90 metres. Turn the volume up and we'll go back the other way. Nothing yet. Oh. Yeah, that'll be China. The problem is identifying stations you find on here. They're mostly Chinese, but we usually get Southeast Asia in Perth. I don't know what we're likely to get out here. Bizarre sound effects.
搞笑就在于说，你这个的演习的响定应该是一种军事上的冲突的时候的一个响定。那如果货轮应该是缓慢的，1031个正。
Same as at home, no shortage of Chinese stations.
以色列称为是美国在中东的航空母舰，它们在以色列的这个地位相当于。那么这些国家共同是零，那么以色列是关键，这些国家是起到起到一个发作用。没有以色列的存在呢，在其他国家的存在也是不长久的。那么美国在支持以色列进攻加沙问题上呢，国际社会反对，它无视；国内社会反对呢，它压制。就目前就是这样一个状态。的确，我们也关注到，美国通过这个援助法案之后呢，以色列也加大了对加沙地带的空袭力度。
I'm not too sure what language that is. Doesn't sound quite like Chinese.
再来关注中东国家伊朗的最新动
态。Maybe it is.
据美联社报道呢，伊朗。焚发有密炭，有密焚发，有气灭焚发，有污秽焚发。
Now that sounds like Thailand. Let's see what else we get here.
好，接下来进入今天的话题讨论。我们首先聚焦俄乌局势。在乌克兰政府几个月来因为西方军事援助短缺而
Okay, we'll try the next shortwave band, which is, now this is shortwave 2, which is band 2 goes from 24 up to 44 metres. We'll see if we get anything there.
Operation in Hong Kong, also around the world, it is happening very quick. So a lot of decisions have to be made in a very short term. So the operator cannot just try to verify what they heard from the message and they just make some of this remedy.
西方武器的优势神话。
대대하고 저희 거기 왔다리고 주고 싶냐 더배워 저희가 주고 싶냐 이거 자주고 제 대가시 못살아주게 다가시 살아주게
Not much doubt where that's coming from.
想请教张老师，您觉得这一次美军可能会向乌克兰提供哪些急需的？迎えた10ポイント選手のスーパータイブレークでは爱国者3的产量目前也就是500枚，也就是说，它可以把整个这个爱国者3的这个产量都可以。
Tức là vào logo loại chim và cũng tương tự như là phương pháp vận hành của phòng trắc TN của Hàn Quốc.
hiện. Bài hát này bắt nguồn từ một sự từng trải thâm thực của ông Lâm Tịch. Một lần tại Tokyo, Lâm Tịch và một người bạn hẹn nhau đi xem phim, nhưng chờ mãi không thấy người bạn đến.
Not much up this end. All right, we'll just have a quick run through the third shortwave band. I don't know if we'll get much on here.
Setelah itu yang kita tarik ialah pameran Tiongkok International Expo ya. Ini tahun-tahun ini semakin terkenal. Setiap tahun pameran ini diadakan dan memiliki lebih dari 4.000 pemasok ya. Nah, biasanya pameran ini
this thing is picking up literally hundreds of stations. I'm going to have to edit a lot of this out because it's gone on for some time, but yeah, this is quite a good performer. I'm surprised at what it can do out here. I almost expected it to do nothing at all, but there you go. So hope you've enjoyed this little bit extra on the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you want to find out how we came to get out here in the middle of nowhere, I'm going to be posting up one of my crappy travel videos pretty soon, probably a couple of hours after I post this one. Depending on what connections we have, it can take some time to upload a video. But we'll catch you in the shed for the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.